Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of you on the panel for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm from the state of Georgia, and we are very proud of our lottery-funded pre-K program that I hope all of you are aware of. It's very similar, as you know, to the Head Start program. However, there are some differences. First of all, it was the first universal program in the nation, but specifically between Head Start and the lottery-funded pre-K program, the pre-K program has shorter days. It also has more educational requirements for the teachers, but most significantly is the cost per child is several $1,000s less than the Head Start program. Any idea why that would be? Why that program would be so much more efficient and so less costly than the Head Start program, Dr. Nolan?
I don't know that program. I actually did spend 3 years as the strategic planning consultant to the Department of Ed in Georgia, so I'm familiar with Georgia education a while back.
Must have been quite a while back.
It went yes, it was. Werner Rogers was superintendent, and he's in a history book someplace.
Yes.
But I think part of what happens with Head Start is as we look at the additional services, those services cost money, and most preschool programs don't have more in-depth services, so the mental health consultation, et cetera, that can become a factor. Another factor that we're up against, for instance, as we compare efficiency, for instance, payroll for teachers, we're, as people have identified, as much as $20,000 behind. One of the reasons is by both state licensing and best practice, the classrooms require a multiple of teachers in a room. I mean, I called our Federal Program Officer a while back and said we're paying our teachers the same as public school teachers. She was enthralled until I said, but we have to spread that salary among 2.5 people. So.
Well, that would kind of be my question, is the program so rigid that it can't be intertwined into an existing state program?
May I jump in?
Yes.
Thank you. So I would agree with part of what Mr. Nolan started with. So Head Start is by law required to ensure these comprehensive services. And I think that definitely goes into this higher cost per child. One of the things that we have to start to think about is how at the state and the federal and the local level, we start to think about this collaboration that everyone here has talked about. So how do you use those resources more efficiently so that we raise quality for all the kids who are in our programs, but we also support teachers and we support parents and we make sure that kids are healthy, getting their dental care and their medical
and I
care.
appreciate that, but my concern is the program is too rigid, that we're not able to incorporate it into existing state programs that work quite well. And I'm sorry, but I've got a limited amount of time, and I want to get into something, Dr. Bill, about the longer days. I was in the state legislature for many years, and during that time we talked about extending the days in the pre-K program, but we really didn't want to pay for nap periods. What are the extended days for 3-, and 4-, and 5-year-olds? It seems like they would lose focus after a while.
Thanks for the question. I think that it all depends upon how that time is spent. And I think that most kids in that age range are absolutely available for different kinds of learning across the day. If we're talking about pre-literacy drilling for kids that are 3, 4, and 5 years old throughout the day, that's absolutely, I think, probably an inappropriate allocation of time. But for other kinds of programming, because kids in that age range, whether they're in a Head Start program or at a playground, are learning and exploring and developing all the time. And so if properly supported and scaffolded in an early childhood program, it can absolutely be time well spent, and they'll have a bit of time to nap, but there's absolutely time for learning.
But my point is, and the point's already been made,
Sure.
that you're required to have certain teachers. I mean, if that extra time's just being spent for naps, then and we're having to pay these teachers during that time, that's not money well spent. Dr. Nolan, I know you want to say something.
Yeah, I want to support you, that for 3-year-olds, it's different than 4-year-olds. In 3-year-olds, virtually all state licensing requires that they nap. So if we were to move a 3.5-hour day to a 6-hour day for a 3-year-old, we would be paying for probably 2 hours of nap time.
Right.
It's different for 4-year-olds.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.